Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being in tune with your show, Guilty by My Own Desires. And today I have an amazing person. I was looking very much for this interview. Her name is Santa Lawrence. She's a talent manager, a businesswoman, and she has a lot of experience working with talent. So I'm going to welcome Santa. Santa, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for inviting me, Giovanna. It's been a pleasure so far.
Well, it's my pleasure. I know that you have worked with a lot of talent, and I wanted to ask you about how did you start your career? I know there is a little bit back on the, I said the music has been represented a lot of in your life, but what is better than you for describe how did you start it?
Well, I got started as a singer. I was a child. My father and my mother encouraged me uh, from the early days to sing all types of music. I started with Mexican folklore music. My uncle had a mariachi. My dad had a swing band that played music from the 40s and the 50s. And so I was able to become anybody I wanted to become. You know, like I could sing in Spanish, I could sing in English, I could do floor shows. By the time I was a teenager, I had my own band. I won my first award in a rock band. Then I had my own disco era band, and I did television, I did radio. I mean, I was very busy for my whole life. And so I had a lot to offer when it came to perspective with artists, because I know what it's like to be an artist, but I also know that artists don't see themselves as the business they've created for themselves for the rest of their life. And so there are so many things that we don't know about business that come into play when you're in your moment, when you're making all your money and you're busy and you're working and others depend on you, that if you have a business mind or someone that has one for you, that you can save your money, you can invest it, you can live well, but don't blow your money, don't squander it, so that later on in life you don't regret that you didn't do some things that otherwise would have been perfect for your later years. Because most everyone that becomes talented is going to have a pinnacle moment where they make the best that they can ever make. You know, times change, taste in music change, eras change, we change physically. And as we get older, there's a room for others to come in and take the place of that popularity. So we want to make sure we always keep ourselves well covered with all types of opportunities that'll keep us living the lifestyles we like to live, and then stay in the public eye as we can, as much as possible, and then embrace opportunities when they come. And so
Well,
those are decisions. They're all decisions to be made.
well, Santa, I know that you have a lot of experience and you have, different experience working with artists in managing like artists in the industry, the music industry. How do you select your the people that you want to work with? How do you select an artist that you say, hey, this person has a talent, I want to manage this talent?
Well, I don't do as much as I used to, but I would say that it has to do with their own commitment to themselves, the dedication they put into their career, the ability to stay balanced in other ways. You know, I do look at the spiritual, mental, physical balance that they have, to be able to invest time into them and know that they're going to reciprocate. Because many times you can have a very talented person, but if they have a difficulty staying focused and they don't show up when they're supposed to, they don't practice as much as they need to keep up with their competition. They let a long period of time go by where you don't hear from them. Those things, we don't tolerate that. I don't tolerate that. If people say, I want you to be committed to me, I want them to be committed to themselves as well. And so it's very important. You know, artists have to run their lives meticulously. They have to know that they're always under the scrutiny of a microscope. And so wherever you are, whether it's in the day when you're doing your own thing out in public, or whether it's at night performing, you're always on. The show is always on. Unfortunately, for people that are in the entertainment world, that's how it is. And so keeping yourself at bay of difficulties and problems and bad scenes and scandals and things that can ruin your reputation or ruin your audience appeal is very important. Now, unfortunately, because of what's happened over the last year, people no longer have the opportunity to be on stages. They don't have the opportunity to be able to perform as they were used to or tour. So now they have to look for different ways of doing things. And live streaming has surely become very popular, as you can see by this show.
Absolutely.
So my love for the entertainment world has brought me to a place where I'm a principal in a major platform I'm going to be introducing soon, along with some very big principals that are going to be there along with me, in order to open up opportunities for artists that even if they can't tour like they used to, they can't fill the audiences that they used to. I mean, let's face it, all these venues that were always the ones that filled up are no longer going to make the money they used to earn based on just filling them up at 25% or at 50%. So something has to come in to cover the difference. I'm also a cash flow management specialist. So understanding cash flow for a business is very important. Is knowing that if you're going to bring in enough cash to keep up with the business and its expenses and still leave a profit is a very important aspect of running anything. So that is something that I'm working on, and will be available soon. I will let you know as soon as it is, Giovanna. It's very exciting. I can't disclose a lot of what we're doing. It's very novel. No one else has it. No one even remotely can think of doing it, I'm sure. But once you see what we can do, it's going to be awesome.
Well, I understand this, and this is something the artists, everyone in the entertainment industry needs to know, because it's not just about being talented. It's also have knowledge and the discipline to make your career successful. That is all about the great artists and great artists and great musicians. They have a lot of discipline, a lot of background, but also has a sense of knowledge. And you being a talent manager, you have been working in the past with huge bands, very recognizable artists. I'm not sure you would like to mention a few names that you have worked in the past.
I would not do that at this time, but I will say that as a business consultant for entertainers, it is one thing that I've been very profoundly passionate about, is to not only secure privacy, but also to encompass all the necessary components of being a successful person. And being a successful person doesn't necessarily mean you become a famous person or being a multimillionaire or billionaire. Being a successful human being involves a whole lot of other values and principles that come into play. And that's what I do, is I bring people into a place of balance so they don't throw the values and principles they intended to have in the beginning because they happen to be getting some attention. And it is important that at the end of the day, you're happy with who you are, inside and out. And so I do have an element in my guidance that I offer that has to do with being a complete whole individual at the end of the day, where you are actually proud of who you are as a person, as a human being, and as an entertainer and an artist, because all entertainers, without any exception, are catalysts, that they have the influence, the ability to influence others. So it is a very important aspect of who you are, that whatever you use that for is going to be for the purpose of creating something positive. And it hasn't been so in the last year and a half to 2 years. Lately, people are willing to throw anything out there to see if it sticks, just to get attention. And they really don't care about who they are as people anymore. They just want to say that they had the opportunity to throw something and see if it sticks. And at the end of the day, I believe that everything has a price. And
what,
when it all is,
yeah. What would you say that are some of the biggest challenges for artists? Because they deal with a lot of things. Sometimes they even deal with their own goal, where they want to go in life, what they want to do with their talent, or how they're gonna work and manage all the stuff. What would you say from your perspective, the the artists encounter as their major challenges?
The major challenge that I have seen that it is reoccurring almost all the time is catering to their own weaknesses. If people have a weakness for something and they recognize they have it and they still maintain it, well, they can't complain later when that same weakness is what ends up changing everything and sabotaging their career. But people think that when they're doing well, that they don't have to be concerned with that because it'll pass, it'll pass. But when we cater to our weaknesses, we're not learning anything. We're enabling ourselves to continue to be weak in those areas. And at some point, it's going to be something they need to fix. And I see that happen a lot, you know. As we see it on tabloids, you know, people that have a weakness for addictions, for cheating on their partners, for whatever it is, they cater to their weaknesses. But if they were able to confront their own weakness and work on that, a lot of good things could happen, not the opposite. So that's my answer to that question. And that can be a very big, profound subject in itself, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think that we are, especially artists, you know, they need a direction, and sometimes a lot of us they need focus. But I would say discipline. Try to do some things that keep us focused, and that's that is personally very important to me because that's what the managers like yourself do, trying to direct and keep people on track of where they are going with their goals. So I know that you have also experience, you know, in the film aspect with as a film producer. So what can you share about that?
Well, always also have to do with a great team. You have to have a great team with great talent that work with you, that have taken on the go over and above the details. You know, you want to be able to use the correct platforms, the correct audio, the correct lighting, the correct every aspect of everything that you do in a production has to be well cared for. So you want somebody that's really keen on detail, because ultimately, when you, as you well know, anything on film, it multiplies in front of the spectator 100,000 times. It looks bigger than life. So if you
Absolutely.
miss anything, it's going to show up later. And when you're editing, can become a nightmare when you're editing and you're trying to fix, you know, certain glares and lighting and positioning and things that no one even noticed. You want to have people there that you need more than one set of eyes, for sure. You need 3 or 4 sets of eyes, because believe it or not, even then you can miss something. So I always share with people, you know, have a great team that aren't afraid to say, hey, you know what, we need to fix this, we need to change that. There's open communication, trust with each other's talent and knowledge, and be willing to be humble enough to accept that if you're not the one doing the right thing, that you're willing to hear somebody tell you, hey, you know, you didn't do this right. If you don't mind me telling you how, I don't mind at all. Tell me, how should I do it better? Always be willing to allow people to tell you that you can do things better, because if it could be the
Santa, I
truth.
think that you're mentioning something very important that you just did. It was like trust your talents. When is the point when an artist get to trust their talents? Because that I think it tends to be difficult for a lot of us.
Well, I mean, that is a kind of a volatile thing, because, you know, people need to trust their talent from the very beginning or they won't be dedicated. So you need to know, even if somebody else, if you don't have a lot of naysayers when you're getting started, you know, most of us, they always start off hearing from friends and family if we're good or not. And, you know, you can't trust those people, because most of the time they don't see the vision you see. And oftentimes they don't have the preparation up here to accept you in the image that you wish to portray, because your image about who you wish to portray can be totally different than what your friends and family have as an expectation of you. But it could be just the right image that's going to hit the market the way you want it to, you see? So you have to be willing to trust yourself, your own inner voice, your own inner guidance will take you where you need to go. You can't allow everybody to come in and influence you. Otherwise, how long is it going to take you before you do trust yourself? So at the core of all things, we all need to be very strong inside ourselves, very secure, willing to take criticism, take it or leave it, do things your way, go to the path that no one else has taken. It's okay. It doesn't mean it's not going to be one. You might be a trendsetter. If you're a trendsetter, which I tend to have been in many ways, when you're a trendsetter, who cares? But once in a while, as a leader, you got to look behind and see if anyone's following that too. So you can be a trendsetter, you can be who you want to be. And in this day and age, especially for women, you know, we have the opportunities we've never had before in this day and age. No matter what you hear out there, whatever anybody out there has to say is irrelevant. You walk to the beat of your own drum. That's it. And you'll find people that'll appreciate who you are. As long as your message is positive, as long as your message is to make things better for others, and you're there to trust that they're willing to trust you for what you represent, as long as that is going on, then you have unlimited potential in this day and age, in whatever genre you choose in entertainment. Just whatever you choose to use, be influential in a positive
Santa,
way.
I think that, that inspired me very much, because I know that it's hope, and I know that all women can achieve that. And I'm just curious about what inspired you.
Well, that's a good thing. Good question, because I was always one of those people that if you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to do it. Just because someone said I couldn't is more of a reason for me to go after it. I've just always been like that. And there isn't anything out there I haven't gone out and done that people might have told me, oh, it's not the right time, or it's not what you do. It's not, well, so, because, I mean, really, the thing about it is you feel successful on the inside when you accomplish things, whether they made big money or not, whether they got big titles or not, whether they got awards or not. The fact that you did it and it went through and all the way to the end and you finished it is already success. And people don't give themselves enough credit for the successes in their lives. You know, we all want to be great moms. We all want to be great artists. We all want to be great business partners. We all want to be great lovers. We all want to be great wives or husbands. But we all start somewhere and build up to that. But the important thing is that you made every effort possible to be the best that you could be at anything you try. You know, I've been an inventor, a singer, a songwriter. I've done production and film. I've done television. I've been radio. I've written for newspapers for long periods of time. I mean, there isn't anything out there that anybody said, oh, have you ever done that? I said, yeah, more than once. Hello. And because how else are you going to go and guide people to do something if you've never done it, right? So
Absolutely.
even if you don't, yeah. So to me, it's about, okay, just throw the task at me and see if I can, and I'll see if it does. And if it doesn't, at least I did it, right? And that's where success really counts, really, is that you're fearless. Because the one thing that I love to be is fearless. I don't like people intimidating me with anything. They all know better. People that know me, they know better. They can unfriend me. I don't care. But I will say the way I think, and I will speak the way I wish to speak, and I'm going to share what I feel is right in my heart. If I feel it right,
that's the best way, what is in your heart, what you feel, and it's yes, and I know for a fact, I got the opportunity to know you personally, and I know that you're very straightforward, and I think that what you say for the artist, you really mean it, and you are doing it for the purpose of helping others to succeed. And well, I can include myself into that. I want to ask you another question. This show is called Guilty by My Own Desires, and I would like to know, what are your desires that you have right now?
Well, my desires are to accomplish the task of helping artists at this time that have seen a lot of loss, regain some of their losses, and show them that there are other places in the world where they can pick up where they left off here. I live in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is like a ghost town now. I don't know if you know that. Most of the shows have been closed. People that wish to make a living are not able to do so. But then I feel that there are other places in the world that never even heard of them before that could recreate and regenerate new interest in their music, in their talent, in their originality. And so, because I'm more of a global minded person, I don't let myself be convinced by a certain area or geographic place where I'm at, where I am, to determine what can be done or cannot be done. Because the reality is there are 7.5 billion people on this planet. How many do you really need to be successful at whatever it is that you need to do? So all you have to do is believe in yourself and seek out whatever it is you're selling, doing, or maintaining, and you'll find a group of people that will follow you. That's all you have to do, is just seek them out. This is a huge world. We cannot be convinced by that which is going on in our zip code area, for goodness sake. And I see too many people feeling that way. They feel oppressed. Oppression is the worst enemy for you. Oppression. Because that's when you feel that other things are in control of you. And nothing is ever in control of you. Only you. And the thing that you have in between your ears. And the minute you start getting rid of all those limitations and blocks, surprisingly, things start to open up and happen. You'll get the call that you never thought you'd get, the invitation you never thought you were going to receive, people that you never even thought you would meet from another part of the world start presenting themselves to you, and it blows up. Because really and truly, it's our consciousness that opens up our opportunities. It's nobody else to be blamed but ourselves. Open up your consciousness, and it's an unlimited potential.
Yeah,
That's all I have.
that you just say there, Santa, that it means the world to me there, because I always wanted to meet Quentin Tarantino, and I always felt like it was an illusion, it will never happen, and then suddenly it happened, and I was like, probably like in another world. I could not even know how it was possible, and I was able to talk to him and tell him about some of my favorite movies, that is Natural Born Killers, and discuss about the screenplays. And I think that you don't know when it will come, but you trust yourself, eventually will come. And I think there is more people that we need, like yourself, that you let know the artists that this is possible, because sometimes I think that the worst enemy is ourselves. And I believe, like right now with this COVID, a lot of people stop doing things like you mentioned. Vegas is like a ghost town. What have you been doing in this time? Like, what can you say to the people from your personal experience as what Santa is doing in Las Vegas?
Actually, most everything that I've been doing is keeping people hopeful of what's going to happen. Nothing is forever, okay? Nothing is forever. If it was, we'd all still be experiencing the Spanish flu since 1918. So let's be real. Everybody needs to get over themselves. You cannot cater to your fears. You need to be willing to uplift your vibration and enable yourself to see beyond the darkness of whatever it is you're being faced with. So what I do a lot of lately is maintain people's perspectives above that which they think they're experiencing in, because in a way they're allowing it to happen, because we allow ourselves to be influenced by these things. Our mind can go anywhere we want it to go. Our spirit can go anywhere in the world, anywhere in the universe. So as long as you can maintain that ability to do that, you don't need to sell out on anything. Don't sell out on your talent. Don't sell out on your dream. There's no way that I would ever let anybody believe that they can sell out on their dream over the circumstances. No matter what happens, this too shall pass. And everything that you ever wanted is just on the other side. Everything you ever wanted is just on the other side of that. So it's like reading a book. You don't want to read a book and then tear out the last 4 pages and not know what happened, right?
No. I won't be able to sleep and thinking what happened in those 4 pages.
Exactly. So why do we do that with our dreams? Why do we do that? Because that's what we do. We give it up and we just, whatever. I guess this one ends here. Well, why? You know, you're creating your own world, your own path, your own destiny, your own everything. So, hey, as long as you're the writer of your own story, keep writing, right? Keep writing your own story. Change the
Sandra,
ending.
I have I want to know what make you believe in your dreams, you know, because this is something that sometimes people think that when they're kids they can dream everything, but I think that we tend to forget as we grow older to believe in our dreams. And you talk about dreams. I love to talk about dreams because I think that everything is possible, but why do you believe in dreams? Why do you tell to people to believe in their dreams?
Because honestly, our dreams are already a reality in our future. You don't know me well enough to understand how I philosophically think things through. But oftentimes your dreams feel so real, right? Well, they feel real because you already got there. All you're doing is filling in the gap, because manifestation is the gift of vision. And when you have the gift of vision, you can manifest anything as long as you're the one dedicated to the dream. But you can change course at any time. However, manifesting your dreams is really in your hands at all time. And when it feels, the more real it feels, the more you know you've already gotten there. You already have experiences, you already lived it. So there's nothing there that falters your path, but to fill in the gap. You already know you're there. In the timeline, you're already there. So there's no question of how you use your energy. It's up to you. You can either turn about face and go the other direction. How could it be more exciting to go somewhere else than towards your dreams? What could be more exciting than that? Right? As long as you're with, there's nothing. So don't let anyone else influence your story. Get rid of the bad characters and replace them with some new ones. That happens a lot in life.
Oh, it
Even
dance a
some of
lot.
even when we love people, the more we love people, sometimes they're the ones that are working against us, because the universe will forces us to make decisions. And
And
maybe it is.
what would be your advice on to that? Because sometimes if working in the entertainment is hard. I will even say it as a personal experience. You don't know who to trust, who are your friends, who you rely on, and how do you start identifying what? I mean, let them go. You know, the characters. What you will say to people, how they can deal with those people that come
It's
and go.
it's always the little things. It's always the little things that give it away. And you always know exactly when you were right, because ultimately we already know who we can trust, who we can't trust. But something makes us become blind to that and allow ourselves, because we want to see the best in people, which is good, because we want to give people the benefit of the doubt, which is also good. But the way I see it is, don't ever put all your eggs in one basket. Your friendships are very important, but the true friends are always going to want to see you win. The ones that want to see you win are the ones that really you want to carry with you for the rest of your life, because those are the ones that are willing to get out of your way and let you be as big as you need to be, as bright as you need to be, and they'll always be right there for you. But you always know the ones that always give you little excuses, the ones that don't show up when they said they will, the ones that promise they're going to do things they don't do, the ones, and there's always little things, but it's in the little things that you learn more about people than in the bigger things. And that's something else that's very important to learn. So it's always in the details. So I can't tell you who in your life would be to the best interest to keep or not keep. That's something that only you can decide. Who brings you joy? You know, joy is just a natural state of being, to be joyful. It's always supposed to be there from the minute you get up to the minute you go to bed. But some people live in the opposite world. They live in a world where they're always afraid of something going wrong. They're always concerned. They're always very cautious, but that's not joy, you see? So then what happens is when they feel joyful, they think they're so joyful, something's bound to go wrong now. Do you see what
Yeah.
I'm seeing by the
Yes,
opposite?
absolutely. Yeah.
It's supposed to be the opposite. You're supposed to always be joyful. So then when you know something's off, you stop and you go, something is off. And then you recognize it. If you're clean in your energy, you will understand what it is that you need to change or get rid of. And it might be something that you're heartbroken about. Maybe somebody that you always thought was always going to be there. It could come back, blindside you from wherever. But whatever it is, you'll know because you have to be in your inner joy to understand when something is really off. Otherwise, it's very hard, nebulous. Imagine if you're always fearful, you fear everything, so you don't know, right? But when you're always in your inner joy, you always understand when something is off. And once you know that, it always comes up to present itself. The other thing I want to say earlier that you asked me about talent, no matter who you are 6 degrees or less of separation from whoever you want to meet anyway. In your case, your director. But in other people that want to meet whoever, it might be a sports fan, it might be, sometimes you're even less than that. And as the world gets bigger, you're less than 6 degrees. Now you're more like 3 to 4 degrees of separation. Totally. And the more you elevate yourself, the lower the number gets. You're just a step, 2, 3 people away. The next thing you know, you're in an elevator and the person you were always wanting to meet is in there with you. And that's happened to me. So
Yes.
things like that happen best when your vibration is at its highest point. So in entertainment, you open yourself up to so many things and so much energy that it's even more important for you to clear out all that energy so you can know who you truly are at all time and be true to yourself and find your inner joy. And if you do that, you can always present the best of yourself to your fans, but don't take them all home with you. Don't take all the negativity and the criticisms and the over exaggerated uh, things that they do to want to get your attention or, all those things. Don't take those with you. You cleanse your energy, you start anew fresh like a newborn baby, and then you go back home. And that's
Well,
important for
and
you
I
to integrate.
I had to ask you this. I know that you work around several famous people, and I just feel that I want to know, from your perspective, how do you deal, or how do you see that the people that you work with deal with fame? Like, how did
And
they?
well, they do all the things that you hear most of them doing. They maintain themselves healthy. They don't allow themselves to be involved with things that would otherwise influence their energy. Um, they are very discriminate about who they spend their time with. They they try to become more real about what they represent, and then they choose the material they represent in alignment with who they truly are. Even businesses are starting to do more of that, where they have a philosophy or a mission statement, and then that is what you do. So you no longer would sing songs that invite people to do nefarious things. You only sing things that bring people more positive sides of themselves. And so as somebody becomes more and more elevated in their consciousness, then they start being a lot more selective in everything. They become more selective in how they eat, where they go when they work out, how they work out, where they travel to, the reasons why they do the things they do. Ultimately, everything in life is about motives. So the reasons why you do the things you do say a lot about you. So they become a lot more aware. And it's all about awareness, really. No one can say that they're the same person they were 20 years ago, I would hope, or even 10 years ago, I would hope. And some of us could even say, hey, I tell people, I invite everybody to be born again every morning. Start anew. You're a new person, new style, new everything, because that way you can stay fresh and relevant in the world. And as you get older, becoming relevant makes all the difference between you staying on the planet or leaving the planet, because we can erase ourselves right off history really quickly if we don't stay relevant. So it's very important to maintain our relevance in the world. Be in touch with those that you love, be in touch with the empathy for the ones around you, the compassion that you may have for their situations. It doesn't have to be you. And a great teacher once said to me, you don't have to jump in the quicksand with them, but you can hand them something where they can pull themselves out, and you can help them pull themselves out. But don't throw yourself in there with them. And that a lot of people need to learn that, they sacrifice their own sometimes fame and fortune and their futures and everything because they wanted to go out and save somebody. Well, after a while, the one they went out to save didn't even remember who they were. So you have to be willing to accept that even though we all want to do the best we can for others, that we have to maintain our own energy so that we can be positive for that which we want to build in the future, because we all have a future to build. And that's
Well, Santa, I think that everything that you have said is very interesting and very useful for a lot of people, because I don't think that people sometimes have this information. But I want to know for you, what do you look for in the people that you work with, in the environment that you have? What is the things that caught your attention and that you want to work with certain person? I guess that's what I want to know.
Well, I know of some artists now that I'm working with that haven't even seen themselves in the potential that I see. They don't understand how fantastic they really are because they haven't gotten there yet. So my job is to convince them that they are as big as they are going to be before they get there, because I'm going to help them build the path to get there. That's part of being management. But the idea behind that is that we oftentimes do not look for the right things. And not everything that you see is the way it is. Your vision has to be a lot deeper than that. And so a lot of new things have come out to share that. If your looks aren't working in your favor, but your voice is, now people are understanding that. That's why they did the show The Voice, right? Or if people are realizing that they have the image and they think they have an image for one thing, but the image actually works for something totally different. Well, it takes somebody like me or someone else to come in with that perspective. Look at some of the actors that are always stuck in the rut doing certain roles. And then all of a sudden they're given a role that's totally out of character. And that was the one role that made them famous, because it was so out of character. They really did show their potential as actors. And that was the role that launched them to the top. Because we need some other perspectives to see ourselves. We can't just rely on our own, because we have blind spots. So the only way we can be exposed to those blind spots is through others that are looking from the outside in. Because from the inside out, we don't even see our own potential. So you need to welcome the people that are doing it for the right reasons. They have their hearts, their hearts in the right place. And those are the perspectives you need to pay attention to. And be willing to say, yeah, maybe it's true, maybe so. But be humble. Be humble, because you never know when the truth you need to hear is coming from someone you never thought would bring it to you. And that's when you have to say, I knew that. And you always know everything. We always know everything, because the minute we face that, we already feel it inside us that we knew it. I knew it. How many times did you get disappointed by someone, and then at the end of the day, you knew that it was going to happen anyway? I mean, really?
Yes. Yeah, no,
No
actually,
surprise.
it's not a surprise. It's like you want to cover up. It's like you have to cover up the cake
Exactly.
with all these things, and sometimes it's because you feel that attachment, and you are needy sometimes, and depending on what is your background. And then when you realize what is happening, and this can cause sometimes the people take advantage of you. And as an artist, or even if you are not artist, because you put yourself in that situation. So I think that what you say, the awareness of what we have and what we can do, it will help us to move forward. And so moving forward, what is the future projects for you, Santa? What is what you're working
Well,
on
I'm not
now?
going to disclose. I'm developing something in another part of the world that's very interesting. I'm going to be launching the app, which is actually going to have a lot to do with that, which I am projecting in another part of the world. I'm not at liberty to say where that is yet. Um, and then it's going to be surprising to everyone when we're able to see, because all of a sudden, this world that we are in is going to suddenly get very small, in the sense that it's going to make a lot of difference to every one of us. So I'm very excited about that. I'm working with people that need to feel they have hope for their future and not give up, and realize, be capable of growing in their own talents. They need to get better at goal setting. They need to get better at seeing themselves in a different light. They need to feel that they can trust their own decisions more instead of second guessing themselves. They need to see that they can manifest the solutions that they claim they want. But oftentimes we say, oh, I want this, but then you're not willing to do what you need to do to get it. So how does that work, right? They want someone to just come over and hand it to them. Well, that's not going to
No,
happen,
that's not
because
happening at all.
but the whole point is the spiritual knowledge that you need to attain to see yourself successfully reach those goals and see yourself progressively realize them. It's a progressive realization of worthwhile goals that ultimately gets us where we want to go. And this is a saying that I learned many, many years ago that I live by. Whatever you vividly imagine, ardently desire, sincerely believe, and enthusiastically act upon will inevitably come to pass. That was a saying by a gentleman named Paul J. Meyer. He was a very influential motivational speaker many, many years ago. And that one little phrase has accompanied me throughout my life, because it also tackles the four parts of our creative outflow. It tackles our vision. It tackles our intuition. It tackles our ability to see the gift of prophecy within us. And it tackles our empathetic part of us, the feeling part. With all those, with that little phrase, it works on the balance of all four. When you get all four working synergistically, magical things can happen. Magical. Almost like you can think it right now because you want it, and the next thing you know, someone's at the door answering. You say, is this something, am I at the right place with this? I mean, it can happen like that. I'm not kidding. Because remember that our desires travel in the space of where there's no such thing as time or space. It's just instant.
I
So
truly and 100% believer of what you're saying in manifestation, because sometimes I think something and is the phone call already there, or is a person knocking, or is someone saying, "Hey, Giovanna, this movie project or this thing," and I always wonder why. But this because you have to think it and your mind, and then put it there, and then visualize it. But it's like in anything, it's you cannot just forget, put it in the door. You have to wake up, have enthusiasm, discipline, the strength to make it happen through the day, because things doesn't happen just like this. We also, you was mentioned something about the you have to believe in yourself, but you have to believe in yourself doing the things, because nothing is going to happen if you don't make an action. And so
exactly.
I think that this is very important, because a lot of people sometimes they think, oh, this person is just doing good, and they don't see what is behind of the work. And in your career, I will imagine that you got like for gone through so many challenges. Like, would you mind to share a challenge that you have gone through your career as a manager, something that really had impacted your life?
Well, there was the first thing that popped in my mind didn't have anything to do with management. It had to do with an invention of mine. And what happened is I went to back. I don't even think you would remember this. Maybe you would. The most beautiful toy stores in the world were FAO Schwartz, and there was one huge, big, beautiful one in New York City. It was the finest toy store ever in the United States. They only had like 4 or 5 locations, but they were the top of the top. So I wanted to take my idea, my invention, and go there and talk to them about it. And the CEO loved my idea. He said I would sell it in every one of my stores. I would order it, blah, blah, blah. But I only have 4 stores, and you could never sell as many as you should be selling of this if you got in touch with other, and then he mentioned other companies and things. But the whole thing was that I had made it to the, in my opinion, I had made it to the top of the top in the sense of the quality of place that I would want to have someone carry my product. But they were not capable of doing what they would have wanted to do, because they were actually, at that point, had gone into bankruptcy for most of their locations, and it's no longer even in existence. They closed their store about 3 years ago, which anyone that never got to go to FAO Schwartz missed out, because it was magical to go there. It was the most incredible place you ever saw, where they would open up in the morning and 2 tin soldiers would blow out their trumpets and roll out the red carpet, and people would start walking in. It was incredible. But what I'm saying is, it was a goal that I achieved. I managed to get to where I needed to be. And then once I got there, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It didn't disappoint me, and it didn't break me or in any way, shape, or form. But what it did do is it showed me that the journey was as important, if not more so, than the actual expectation of what I thought would happen when I got there. And the opinion of the CEO of a major, very successful, several generations of life toy company was a very valuable thing, which I still have it framed in my office, by the way, the letter I got from them. So to me, what you want to achieve may not look exactly like you thought it would when you get there, but the fact that you did all the things you needed to do to get there was more valuable than the actual whatever it is that you receive at the end, because that's why you had to do it in the first place. You had to do all those little tasks, make all those calls, do all that work, perfect your craft, create your product or whatever it is you're doing. And even if you just got there and they saw and they loved it, if it didn't turn out to do what you thought it would, doesn't make it any less successful. And the biggest problem I have seen with most people today is that they throw away their successes. They just dump them in the trash like they didn't exist. And to me, that's terrible. It's terrible, because that isn't what it's about. It's always about the journey. It's never about just the destination. It's always about the journey. And if you forget that, you're not going to be able to savor your life. It's not going to be the delicious thing you can't wait to get up in the morning and experience. If you're only waiting until it's just right, how boring is that? Right?
You just
You have
made
to
me
stay.
remember of a great author that I enjoy very much. Is Joseph Campbell, and it's the story of the hero's journey. You know how the heroes start here, they make a whole circle, and they return back what they started. And sometimes, like you say, it's all about the journey. Everything that you are going through, who are you meeting with, who you are learning from. And then suddenly it's for you up to decide and to own whether you take the success or you want to take it as a failure. And everything, as you say, is in the power of our mind and how we interpret things. And well, I think that this conversation with you, Santa, is very motivating, and it's inspiring, and it's making me think, so many positive things, because I know you are a woman that is talented, have worked with talent, but you also are an entrepreneur and help many other people. And as a woman and entertainment, also, I would like to ask you. have you have any like challenges, or have you overcome being in the entertainment, being a woman?
Well, I think that what I find to be really strange, and I don't know if it's just because I never really think about it or do it. I can truly tell you, Giovanna, this is going to sound so disingenuous to you because most people expect something else. I am a Mexican American woman raised in San Antonio, Texas, and my first language was Spanish. And I was raised in a total world where my country was inside the front door of my house, and then the United States was on the outside of my house. So I managed to live in two worlds simultaneously, like you and many other people I've met, as you well know. But what I will tell you is in all my journey, for some ungodly reason, I have never felt that someone put me aside, neither because I was a woman nor because I was Hispanic. I didn't have that experience in my life ever. I always walked in, said what I needed to say, did what I needed to do, and somehow I never had to worry about that particular challenge at all because people understood that where I came from was where that what they needed to hear, what they needed to see, and they knew that it was 100% in. If I'm not in, I'm not in. I'm 100% or I'm not. I don't know. I don't know how to do anything any other way. And when you're like that, I believe you belong everywhere. You belong in a palace, you belong in a little cabin in the woods, you belong in a village, or you belong in a big city, or you belong in a huge metropolis where everybody is highly regarded, but you fit everywhere. And I've never felt like I didn't fit anywhere. And as a result of being that way, I have never been treated like I didn't fit anywhere. Isn't that
That
weird?
is very encouraging, for many of us, for we can let some of the things that are stopping us to see ahead and to see our future. And I think that you are a woman of tremendous strength. Like I never met before. Is an honor to have you here, Santa. And I mainly with a very sincere respect with you, because I have a tremendous respect for you. You are always open and so motivated and so knowledgeable about many things. And I think that what you're saying and what you're sharing today in this interview, it might be valuable for many talented artists that are struggling. And sometimes they don't feel good about themselves. Sometimes they're thinking about if they're doing something right or not. And from that perspective of an artist, I also want to ask you, in a case that an artist is looking for a manager, what are some of the factors that they should look up to a manager to find the kind of the right combination, if it is perhaps some sort of the right combination?
Well, the right combination, first and foremost, is to have a track record of integrity. The track record of integrity is probably the one that I would look for the most. And also the fact that if you're looking at somebody to represent you, that they have a real knowledge of the genre that you represent, and that they are really dedicated in that area, that they have given you more than one example of all the things that they can bring to you. Remember, you're the one hiring them. They're not the ones hiring you. And so a lot of the artists forget that. They switch it out. They're hoping they're taken, but you know what? You're the one that calls the shots. So it's a positioning that changes everything. I have something I know is worth a lot. Are you going to be worthy of me to take me out to where I need to be? Because I can always go look somewhere else, and you will, and you can. But you have to believe that. So it is about what you believe, you see, because your talent is very important. It's creative. It's the creative outflow. It's unique like your fingerprint. No one else is like you. Whatever you are offering is not like anything or anyone else. And if the script hasn't been written yet for the kind of character you can play, then by golly, you need to attract the writer that's going to write the script with the character. What are you doing trying to fit in a square piece into a round one? Just create the piece for yourself. Remember, there's no such thing as limitation. So you create your own show, you create your own song, you create your own music, you create your own your rhythm, you create your own beat. I mean, my goodness, look, there's only 7 notes in the notes, and look at all the songs that can be written out of those. So that's about as much as you can do with your talent. It's the same thing. It's not any different. So if someone doesn't see it, then you create it. And then you make it up as you go, and then you'll find people that'll take it, and then you'll find more and more people that'll like it, and then you just keep doing it. Just keep doing that over and over and over, tenaciously. And you will have people begging to manage you because you're being true to yourself and you're being who you're meant to be. You might not be like anything anybody ever saw in your life. You might be somebody that nobody ever thought would ever do anything. But you know what? You were persistent, tenacious, you creative, you reinvented yourself at every turn, and suddenly you're somebody nobody can replace, and now everybody wants to manage you because that's the way it goes. You're the one in charge, not the manager. Okay? Managers are a dime a dozen, but you're unique. You got to remember that. It's always opposite. I guess if everybody just remembered to do the opposite of what they're doing, they do a lot more.
Well, Santa, I think that, you being a manager and saying this just prove how humble you are and how serious you take your job as a manager. And I think that these are some things that make things happen like magic. When really something just get that is the perfect combination. I think that what you just say, there is both parts, and then working together is moving forward towards the future, to something that is a vision combined. And I love that about what you just say. But one of the things that I before we go, I know that we are running out of time now, but there is a message that you would like to share, something that you would like to share with our audience.
Yes. Those of you that are artists out there, remember, you are the joy in the world. You're the ones that can't give up. You're the ones that have to continue to give what you give. Don't let anybody convince you otherwise, because you're the ones that are most connected to the universe and to the feelings and the things that people need to have expressed. You are the expressors of the quiet ones. You see, so if you are the expressors of all those quiet ones that don't know how to sing, they want to hear you sing. If you don't know, they don't know how to dance, they want to watch you dance. They don't know how to act, but they want to see you do it. You owe it to them to continue to be the best that you can be at your craft, because that's what our world needs right now, to heal itself from what it's going through. So don't give up and don't give in. That's my biggest message. Don't give up and don't give in, ever. Ever. Because I don't ever. And if I'm with my manager for you, or if I'm representing you, they don't do that either. They never give up on you. They never give in, and they never, ever leave, because they know that you're there. That's it. That's all I have to say. You never give up. You never give in, ever. Period. End of story. You are your best friend.
Thank you so much for this amazing interview, Santa. It has been such a pleasure share this time with you and sharing your time. I know that it's very valuable, so I appreciate that you took the time and being here at this show, Guilty by My Own Desires. Like I believe some of the artists, we follow our desires, as burning, and perhaps sometimes we get out of the way in order to follow what our hearts dictate us. So it has been wonderful. Santa, would you like to share how people can find you?
Well, I brought down my website, but I'm going to be bringing it back up soon. It's called clarityhappens.co. And it is just going to show you a little bit of all the things I've done. It's going to show some of the upcoming events that we have. Just so much. That's why it's taken so long to put it back up, because I have so much to put on there. And anybody that would like to reach me, I'm sure they can go through you to reach me. And I'd be more than happy to hear from them.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
Santa, it was wonderful having you as a guest. I would love to invite you again, and listen more of your advice. And I think there is very beautiful everything that you had said, but not just beautiful, it's useful and helpful.
I hope so. I hope
Yeah.
so. Thank you. I appreciate you inviting me. Thank you. I admire you a lot, Giovanna. You've done some incredible things on a global level. I admire you for your spirit. I admire you for your tenacity. You have all those attributes that I've talked about that make people successful. And you have changed lives in a lot of places in the world, not just locally, but everywhere you go, you change lives. And that is what it's all about, because you bring hope to people. And that's the type of people that I like to be around. So thank you for inviting me to be part of your show. I'm very honored and humbled. And anything I can do to make it happen for you, you can. I'm just a phone call away.
Well, thank you, Santa. That really means a lot. Don't make me cry here on live television. But I just wanted to interview you because I know that you have a lot of meaningful things to say, and a lot of people can learn from you. And then that just have a wrong perspective of what the manager is. And thank you. I really, this means a lot to me that you are here today. So anyway, friends, to all our Heart of Hollywood audience here with us today, Guilty by My Own Desires, Santa Lawrence, she's an artist, a woman entrepreneur. She has been a talent manager for so many years, and she has a lot of experience. So if you would like to connect with her, you can connect also with Heart of Hollywood or at her website. And so I would say goodbye, and I will see you soon in our next show. Thank you again, Santa. So bye-bye.
Bye-bye.